Happy New Year, everybody. OneSoccer is back. We hope you enjoy the holidays. We're looking forward to a fantastic 2022. And yes, that includes the new CPL season, but we've got some big news when the new year welcomed us in. Eddie Petrollo alongside, and now I have to say it, former commissioner of the Canadian Premier League, David Klanikin. You know, David, it feels like yesterday, January 2018, when it was announced that you would be the first ever commissioner of the CPL. And what a wild ride it's been in 3 years, all very successful, but really only one full season because you also had the dubious honor of being the commissioner during a pandemic. But take us through the decision to step away.
Yeah, Andy, it's one of those things, right? When I first joined, I actually joined as part of the buildup for the league prior to 2018. So I had been involved for quite some time. I had made the commitment that I would do this for a number of years, 3 to 4 years, which I've done. And at that point in time, I realized that we would get to a point in the league where it really required somebody to have a much greater commitment to it. Not that I wasn't committed, but certainly would have to be sustainable going forward. And at the same time, as I joined, Scott Mitchell and I had talked about the fact that at one point, I would love to be able to build a club myself. It was kind of a passion project for me, and so we talked after the season this year, and it was good. I was happy that we got back playing in front of our fans and supporters. That was one of the biggest things for me to get the deal done in Winnipeg with the kickoff, and then obviously to get back in front of our home fans and really see the level of the game go forward. It's with a heavy heart that I do it, but the reality is now's the time. I just. It's one of those things where you've got to decide, okay, what's the best thing, not just for the league, but also for myself. And if I'm going to do this, now is the time to do it. And while my kids are still young enough that they'll appreciate it at one point. So that's the reason for doing it.
Well, you mentioned something there, so I don't exactly want to bury the other lead, of course, which was, part of the announcement was that you will have some involvement in the possibility of a franchise in Windsor. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so as most people know, I come from Southwestern Ontario. I was literally immigrated to Windsor from Scotland as a youngster and spent my entire education and life down there. So Windsor, Essex County played the game of football down there for quite some time. And so one of the things that I've always said, I think it's a great part of the province. It's a hardworking, obviously changing face, lots of immigration there, but it's always had lots of immigration in that part of the world. So I've been, I've been awarded the exclusive rights for a CPL expansion club in that part of the world. And then that's why I'm stepping down as a commissioner to focus on bringing that professional sports opportunity, first ever professional soccer club, to what I call my hometown in Canada. So we're it's very important that we get off to the right foot. Obviously, it's got lots of things attached to it because I did it to others coming into the CPL, and that's proper soccer specific stadium and all the other expansion criteria. But it's always been a dream of mine, and hopefully it's something that allows me to do something for the area that really kind of turned me into the person that I am today. And I have deep roots there, and obviously it's where I learned a lot of my business acumen. I see Windsor a lot like Hamilton. Truthfully, it's a great town, and is a great example of what Canadiana is.
Well, if there's one thing you can say about expansion in the CPL was you wasted no time with that either. By no means did you sit back and go, all right, this is a new league, let it, breathe a little bit and then we'll add. I mean, right away with Ottawa, then the announcement, of a team out in Saskatchewan. Then, of course, we talk about Vancouver, and you've hinted as well at other places in the country being interested in expansion. So there's a lot of good news there. Of course, for fans, they can't help but think, oh, but of the 3 seasons, 2 were under a pandemic. So they have the question, where is this league financially? As you step away from the CPL, what can you tell us about the foothold that the CPL still has in this country?
Yeah, I think that the CPL has got a fantastic foothold. I mean, listen, at the end of the day, I wouldn't be pursuing a franchise myself if I didn't
Mhm.
believe that. So, sometimes you like,
Mhm.
what's the old story, right? I love the company so much, I bought it, right? I mean,
Yeah.
that's what's happening here. The reality is, I think that we have a tremendous opportunity going forward. We are talking to at least 4 or 5 other opportunities right now over and above the ones that we've announced. So, and that's without adding, even Southwestern Ontario, Windsor, Essex County into that. So when I look at it, I think, wow, what a great opportunity. It runs. In my opinion, it runs in parallel to what's happening in the game in the country. Right. It's not just about our men's national team and our women's national team doing so well, but the sport in of itself is just taken off. Right. And I used to say when we first met, I told you the story about how when I left Tim Hortons after 36 years, we had more kids, 5 and 6 year olds playing Timbits soccer than they were playing Timbits hockey. That's nothing against Timbits hockey. It just so happens that the game is just so accessible. Right.
Yeah.
And I think we have become a soccer nation. And that is really important. I know you believe in that. I know everybody at OneSoccer believes in that. And we certainly believe it at the CPO.
Well, you mentioned the national teams, and it's been incredible. And we also know quite a few CPL players got call up to camps, which is wonderful. But it's not just the men who are doing well. We know the Canadian women have done exceptionally well. And of course, they are the Olympic champions. And we know coming off of that, there's been so much talk about a women's professional league on Canadian soil. Can you shed any light, maybe any type of conversations perhaps that have happened behind the scenes, with the CPL even being involved and maybe helping launch a women's league?
Well, there's no doubt that we're watching what's happening and have been watching what's happening, and we're very interested in seeing that happen. Obviously, as you know, we own League One Ontario, and League One Ontario, we now have 18 women's teams at the top level playing in Ontario this year for 2022. So we're extremely happy with how that league has grown from 9 teams when we first started in 2019. So we're seeing it drive to the next level. Obviously, you need different levels in order to feed a system like that. But our women's team has done so well. I mean, they'll be Olympic champions for the next 4 years, and you can't take that away from them. And it's wonderful. But we need to continue to sustain that and feed it, because athletes can't play forever. Not everyone is Christine Sinclair can play forever, who is phenomenal.
Very true. I feel like she is going to keep going and going and going. And I think the fans would definitely appreciate that too. But let's talk about you a little bit as well, because, it's been quite the ride for you. And I'm just curious to know what you've learned being the commissioner of a professional sports league at the highest level.
Well, listen, at the end of the day, sports is a very different business than most people think when it comes to business. You can call it a business, but it's very different than that. Just the fact of the matter is that revenue is not a given. And it's not a given in anything, whether it be a restaurant business, whether it's a car, it doesn't matter what kind of business you're in. Revenue is never a given, but it's very difficult because you have to earn your stripes in a different way to get people to come and spend time at your matches and attend your events. That's massive. And so when you go through the types of times that we've gone through in the last 2 years, it really brings it under intense pressure. Right now, having said that, you need to be in front of people all the time. And a lot of the lessons that I learned in business in the past still apply. The idea that I was adamant that we were not going to go dark with COVID. There was no way that was going to happen. You cannot be out of the mind's eye of the consumer, and can substitute fan supporter for consumer. I mean, it's the same thing. And you have to be innovative. You have to to push yourself and think about fresh ideas and support being, adventurous. It becomes harder and harder the larger you get. But in a new league, you can afford to be creative. And I still get asked, you changed the playoff format 3 times in 3 years. Yes, we did, because we listened to our fans and supporters. That to me was very important. And every time we did something, whether it be the kits or the CPL awards, we looked at it and said, should we do this like everyone else? Why don't we try to do something that has a story to it, that people will remember, that people will repeat, that they will talk about themselves. Those are the types of things. That's how, as human beings, that's how we remember things, is storytelling. Memorizing facts doesn't mean anything, but understanding a story and understanding why it ties back and why it's important, and those are the types of things that create traditions.
Yeah, there's been a lot of tinkering, but to your point, a lot of it, you do feel like it's been listening to the fans, and there's a lot of progression there when it comes to the league. And so the 3 years that you were there, what's your high point as CPL commissioner? Was there a decision you made that you loved? Was maybe a moment? Was there a game? Was there a player did something? I mean, I don't know, where you felt like, this is the moment why I became CPL commissioner, and this feels incredible?
I think there were, you'd have to go back to 2019, which was the first year. I went down to the training camp in the Dominican with all the teams that year, and I got to know a number of the players that were there because I was there. First and foremost, I'm a fan. I'm a fan, and I'm a supporter of the league. I love the game. I can't get enough of it. Whether it be in Canada, North America, or globally. So I love that. But then the first game at Tim Hortons Field with York United now, and Forge FC, that was an amazing day. I mean, I'm not too proud to tell you that I shed a few tears before the game started, and after the game, and I thought that was wonderful. And then, of course, the two-legged final between Cavalry FC and Forge FC that first year. I mean, we have a great product. We have great athletes, and it goes back to the individuals, the athletes and the coaches, the owners. They're all so passionate about the game. This is totally a passion play at this point in time. This is not this is not big business at this point. This is about doing something. And we talked about this idea that we needed to leave a legacy project here, and the legacy is to have this league continue and be here forever, because I truly believe that we can be one of the greater soccer nations in the world if we just give it its time and its due and support it.
Mm-hmm. A final one for you, because, as much as I'm alluding to CPL commissioner 3 years, I mean, we're talking about half a decade between, the CPL and the CSB. What are you most proud of also when you just look back at soccer as a whole in this country?
Well, I'm very proud of the fact that I see the game in an upward to the right trajectory. And from my business world, Annie, I think we've talked about this before. Any chart that has that chart that sees a line going upward to the right, most people say, don't touch it, leave it alone. It's going to be fine. Just water it, get it some sun. You're going to be good, right? I think that the idea that we have put this in a firm footing, and that we're doing the right things, and we're developing players, and we are creating that ecosystem that's required to support. And you can see those of us that are in Canada that are part of the game, and even those who don't know the game yet, I'm still bringing people to football matches, our matches, and they're like, I can't believe how great this is. Didn't understand it. Didn't really, I never hear anybody say, oh, there's not enough goals. All I hear is, wow, what a great game. Look at it. It's like a, there's a play going on here. Like it's a pantomime. You watch the way the ball moves and everything. There's more excitement in the game that people are starting to discover. That's what I'm most impressed with. I see all of the following and the way that we're being followed now. Now, could it be better? Could it be more? I think you and I would agree. We can always do more, right? But we're really getting, the momentum is the thing that I'm most proud of, and how we've done that. And that's not just from the CPL, that's from everyone that touches our sport.
Well, this ecosystem is alive and well. It's thriving thanks to contributions like people like you have made to this. We know our women are going to be in action in February. It's going to be a great 2022. CPL once again getting going. And OneSoccer, of course, will be back on January 27th when the World Cup qualifiers begin once again for the men. David, it was a pleasure working alongside you, watching you work and navigate what hasn't been an easy 3 years for the CPL. But to the point that you made, you refuse to let it go dark. And I know the fans and everyone here at OneSoccer appreciated that. So best of luck in your future endeavors.
Thank you so much, and thank you so much to OneSoccer and for everything you've done, Andy. You guys are just phenomenal as far as the way that you promote the sport and how you cover it, and it's always a pleasure. I mean, it's again, you're part of what makes us unique and has taken us to where we are at this point. Thank you.
I'm sure our paths will cross again.
Take care.